Welcome to this edition of On the Scene. I'm your host, Tim Kelly. On today's program, we're going to talk about some of the unique and inventive ways our Suffolk Parks and Recreation Department and Suffolk Public Library are reaching out to our residents to provide programming and services online, sort of in the virtual world, given the fact we're dealing with the coronavirus and social distancing. So stay tuned for a lot of great information to come. Welcome back to On the Scene. We're joined now by Jennifer Brown, who's the Youth and Family Services Manager with the Suffolk Public Library, to talk about some of the new offerings that they have as far as online or virtual access for people to get access to things and programs through the Suffolk Public Library, in addition to talking about all the great online services they already had in place before we started talking about coronavirus and certainly the impact on our residents and our city. Well, Jennifer, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
So when we talk about new things, and I know y'all have been very creative in trying to find a way to get your programs out there and get items to give not only residents, but certainly those school kids that are home something to do. Let's talk about some of the new things that people can now get to courtesy of the Suffolk Public Library.
Sure, absolutely. So we have, throughout last week, we started transitioning most of our programming online. Yep. So during our regularly scheduled storytime hours, you can actually view story times that we've pre-recorded. So we're calling them Storytime Rhymes and More, I think is what we're calling them. So we read a book, we do some rhymes, so that we can kind of keep that same routine, especially for our families that are used to coming in and seeing us. But it also allows families who are usually working during this time to actually interact with those programs as well. We're doing some kind of like DIY craft activity kind of things for kids, and then for adults we're also doing some, we're working on getting our pub trivia program up online, and our ESL or English as Second Language programming. They're still conducting classes through WhatsApp. Okay. So we're still trying to really engage our community and program for them and interact with them so that we can all still feel connected in a way.
Indeed. Now when you talk about story time and some of those things we let off with, where are they finding that? Is it on your YouTube channel? Is that where we kind of putting those resources?
Sure. So we've been posting them to our Facebook.
Okay.
But they are also posted to our YouTube channel as well. So if you don't see them right when they're posted, you can go back and see them later.
So the best way to access that, other than going to the platform itself, either Facebook or YouTube or whatever, through your website, can they get to there? And what's the best way? So if we get on your landing page, and it's SuffolkPublicLibrary.com, correct? As far as just to get there. So we'll have that up on the screen. Where should they look on your homepage to kind of tap into some of these resources you're talking about?
Sure, we have Facebook links to where you can just click directly into our Facebook groups or our Facebook pages. And we'll have some announcements coming up because we have like a regularly programmed scheduled at this point. So you can find that schedule there as well.
Nice. Now, are these events live or sort of pre-recorded? So if you miss it at 9 in the morning, you didn't miss it. You can always get to it when it's convenient for you.
So no, ours are not live. We're actually pre-recording. That way there, on the off chance that we're not going to be in the building, we still have, we quite literally have, I think, through the end of April recorded. Oh, good. So that we can continuously upload them to our site.
Working ahead and getting those resources out there. And I think we've talked a number of times with you and other folks with the Public Library to talk about the fact of all the great things y'all are doing, and a very creative group they have over there. Always looking to keep pushing that envelope to add more services and develop things. And I think it's great that y'all are able to pull this together in such a short period of time. And again, depending upon how things progress, we'll continue to see more evolution of services and things that are offered that way. But one of the great things is y'all already had a very strong online presence of materials and things that people can get to. So let's talk a little bit about that. So what's out there already and how people can access it? I know we'll say before coronavirus. I don't know if that'd be BC or BCV. Maybe we'll term it that, I guess. People, the library card is what you need for the portal. Now, what if someone, before we talk about what you have to offer, doesn't already have a library card? How can they go about doing that?
Sure. So we have an Ask Us form on our website where you can contact us and say, hey, I want a library card. We'll have somebody get in touch with you, get all the pertinent information. We'll give you the card number, set you up with a PIN, and you can access your account online that way. Or you can call us. We're manning the phones Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. So if you have any questions about resources, want to get a library card, you can call us and we can help you directly.
Gotcha. I knew you don't have a solution to the problem in that sense, but hopefully everybody has their library card, which again is free, doesn't cost you anything, just have to fill it, get the basic information, you're up and running. So with all that said, let's talk about the things that people can get to online once they have that magical library card in place.
Sure.
Some of the things that y'all offer, it's not just books or reading material, music, movies, all kinds of things.
Right, so music, movies we have available through our Hoopla app. So that is kind of a streaming app where you can download books, ebooks, magazines, TV shows, movies, music, the whole shebang pretty much. So previously you could only download 4 things a month. Now we're offering 6 things a month. So we've kind of pulled our resources into that resource.
Perfect.
So it's on demand. You just pick what you want, click download, you're good to go.
Super.
We also have RB Digital, which is another ebook or e-audio book platform that you can also get materials. We have lots of databases. So if kids are working on homework at home, you can access research databases. We have something called Universal Class where you can do a little bit of professional development, learn a new skill, absolutely free.
Yes.
We have Rocket Languages, so if you want to learn a new language, you can do that too. You got plenty of time on your hands.
I was going to say, you have time on your hands.
Learn a language.
It's screaming, this is what you can do.
This is what you should be, So you have time, you might as well learn something new. So we have a lot of great resources like that. If you have any trouble operating any of those online services, again, give us a call. We do have it set up in place to where if you need somebody to walk you through and show you how to do it, we have kind of video conferencing that we can facilitate that for you.
Very good. Again, creative ways to tackle problems and get solutions for all our folks out there. Now, one of the other things, I know obviously, again, you still have staff that are in place, that are still working, that are still there to assist customers as far as you said, either virtually, on the phone, through social media. You still can reach out and touch someone, so to speak, in a figurative sense, mind you. Social distancing, we want to completely stress that. But the fact that print services is still something that is where people can still, in a roundabout way, get some things done. Let's talk about what you offer and how people can take part in that.
Sure. So if you're like me, you don't have a printer at home, because why would you have a printer at home anymore? But there's still some documents that you might need to print it off during this time. So we have a print from anywhere capability. The directions are on our website. So you can either download an app on your phone and send it that way, or you can actually forward it in an email, whatever you need printed. And what we'll do is you call us ahead of time. We make sure it's in our print queue. We print it off for you, and then we will put it in our vestibule in the front of our library, because it's kind of separate from the main library. So there's still no public interaction, but we can leave it in there for you to pick up. And again, if you have any trouble using that service, just give us a call.
Now, is that just at North Suffolk, or do you also do that at Morgan and Chuckatuck?
Morgan and North Suffolk. We have those capabilities. Right now, we don't have anybody at Chuckatuck. We're just putting our resources in those 2 locations.
But again, those 2 locations, central downtown, northern Suffolk, again, there's ways that everybody can get there pretty much from everywhere in Suffolk. So again, the offer there. Is there a limit on how many pages on something like that?
Not at this time.
Okay, perfect. Good deal. So again, that's something you can tap into. You get the app, you print it, and you said you call ahead.
And we'll make sure it's, we also are doing the same thing with our tax forms, because it is tax season.
That is correct, yes.
So if you need tax forms, we'll have those available in that area as well.
And again, that's just tax forms, not tax assistance. Correct. Okay. And again, you talked about the fact, I think one of the great components that people really don't realize in some respects, the online learning that y'all offer. You talked about professional development and learning another language and things like that. These things have already been out there. And this, if there's any silver lining to the situation we are all finding ourselves in, it's people are finding out other means that are already in place and great resources that are out there. And these are definitely fall into that category, because again, once we get back to what we used to know as normal, I think these resources will still be there, and the fact that people can utilize them, and I think learning about them, the fact that they are free. All you need is a library card. If you don't have it, again, there's ways to make sure you can get that account set up and get rolling with that. Very simple, very easy. The staff is there to assist. If there's questions about how to load it on a device or do things, you have staff that can work through. You talked about video conferencing to even do that as well. I think that's another great option, because sometimes you hear it, but maybe you need to see it done, and sometimes it's a matter of here's where you're going on your iPad or your other device or whatever to get around on that, and I think that's a great way. So when this challenge was presented to you and your staff, the initial, what are we going to do, how are we going to do these things, again, it came together pretty quickly, but again, with the creativity and the diversity among your staff from backgrounds and approaches and skill sets, I think that's why these things work through your organization.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes, and we were already thinking about how to really engage people virtually. Like that was going to be the next step in our services. So we already had the idea. We had already prepped our staff. Like they knew that this sort of thing was going to come. It we were presented with the opportunity to actually roll it out a little sooner than we were intending.
I understand, but sometimes in crisis we find success stories.
Absolutely.
And I think this is definitely a great example.
And we're definitely trying to see this as an opportunity to serve our community and meet them where they are. So even when this is over, we might have parts of our community that aren't able to come in and interact with us on a one-to-one basis. So this allows us to set the foundation for us to be able to interact in different ways.
Now, on positive feedback, I know you've had to have gotten some since all this has kicked off. Can you share any stories or kind of anecdotes from that?
So one of our staff, Corey, has been doing an online art program. So he's showing kids how to do pointillism with like Q-tips and paint.
Interesting.
And we've had some people like post their photos of as they go along with Mr. Corey during the program. So we've got a lot of great feedback from that. We've had somebody from, I think, Washington State who's been interacting with us as a patron with our story times.
Nice.
We're compiling lots and lots of resources for our programming and have been sharing that information with libraries around the country. So yeah, it's been in a time of crisis, it's been kind of like this little shred of light that's coming through of how we can still feel connected to one another and build community with one another.
And I think that's an important word, connected. You know, we think we're connected with everything. Oh, you know, well, but it's that human interaction that sometimes is lacking when you're just dealing with a device. And y'all are offering opportunity to interact with someone either in a live environment in some instances, or just simply watching someone do a human being doing something, if you will, very old school, you know, doing the presentation there. And I think there's something to be said for that, to kind of make you feel like I'm part of something, I'm doing something, I'm interacting with someone other than the people that are in my very limited social circle, excuse me, because of social distancing. I say that 10 times fast. So S's strung together there. But and I'd just like to say thank you to the Suffolk Public Library for everything y'all are doing and continue to do to kind of get everyone through this crisis and to offer them, as you said, that ray of light, that hope in those fun times, and those interactions, and the ability to learn and to interact with other members of the community. So I think y'all are doing a super job.
And I will just throw this out there: if anybody has any other ideas about how to interact with one another or to engage each other, send them our way. We are willing to try anything at this point, pretty much.
Gotcha. Well, Jennifer, thank you for your time today. Again, SuffolkPublicLibrary.com, a great way to get into and start accessing some of these things. Again, if you don't have a library card, which, yes, you do need to access, there's ways to do that. So, again, phone call, contact them. They will get you through the process and get you set up, and you can tap into all these great resources. Jennifer, thanks again.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. We'll have more on the scene when we return. Welcome back to On the Scene. We're now joined by Amber Miller, who's a marketing specialist with our Suffolk Parks and Recreation Department, to talk about what they're doing to reach out to citizens and provide some recreation, some kind of thinking outside the box programs to get people kind of out and exploring Suffolk without actually having to do so. They do it for the privacy of their own home. So Amber, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So when we're thinking about what we can do to continue to offer services to our residents and do it in a way where we're adhering to social distancing and not bringing large groups together, certainly when you think of Parks and Rec and recreation, you think of groups coming together, exercising, doing this, sports programs. We're out with a program in a park, so we're out exploring things as groups. Well, we have to kind of change our philosophy on that, and y'all have done some things to kind of take care of that. First up, exercise. I know y'all have a very wide array of exercise programs that are offered when everything was working normally, and you've tried to kind of continue that in a virtual sense. So talk a little bit about what those programs are and how people can tap into them.
So one thing that Parks and Rec has tried to do is move virtually with most of our events and fitness classes specifically. So what we're doing is we're doing live videos of our fitness classes, mainly with the East Suffolk side, East Suffolk Recreation Center, but we're also going to tie in a little bit of Whaleyville Recreation Center as well. So obviously it has to deal with the availability and health of our fitness trainers as well. So every morning I've been posting on our Facebook page at Suffolk Parks and Rec, if you want to follow that so that you can catch along. But I'll post every morning about what classes we're having that day so that you can tune into our live. And if you miss the live, that's no problem because it'll actually post to our feed so you can go back and watch that later on in the day if you don't have time to that morning. Very
good. Now again, of course, when the programs are offered, when they're actually live and in person and people participating, there is a membership fee or a fee to do that. But here, it's not costing anybody anything.
Right, it's completely free. So normally it is with the membership. But if it's live on our Facebook, then you can tune in for absolutely free.
Perfect, good deal. And again, that's a way to get people to kind of experience some things and think, you know, when we get back to that point, and we will get back to that point, we're able to come together again, then these are things that I might want to continue with. And as you said, they're offered live, so it's following the same class schedule based on availability, correct?
Correct.
So again, it's a matter of getting your own personal schedule set. This might be a great way to do that.
Exactly.
But the magic of technology being what it is, they're also recorded and people can go back and watch them at their leisure. So again, you don't necessarily have to follow the schedule, but if you want the live experience, that's the best way to do it.
Right, and one wonderful thing that one of our specific instructors does, Miss Betty, she'll actually use weights that you can get from your own home, so Can Good. She'll take out cans and show you how you can use those as weights. So it's very innovative and a very user-friendly way.
Creative thinking, we like that. So again, people might feel like they're trapped in their home, but they're still out experiencing things and able to use items in their own environment to make that work. Perfect. Now, Arbor Day was a unique opportunity that y'all took advantage of. And April is going to be, I think you said Arbor Month?
April is Arbor Month, correct.
Very good. So we're continuing with the theme. But talk about what y'all did with Arbor Day and sort of an out-and-about experience with one of your instructors.
So Arbor Day is something that we really take pride in for Suffolk Parks and Rec. And we really wanted to have this virtual event. So on this past Saturday, we went live on our Facebook with the planting of the tree and the reading of the proclamation from our director, Mark Furlow.
Okay.
And then actually in the upcoming weeks, we posted one video on Saturday as well, but it's with our tree expert, Byron Carmine.
Right.
And he's doing a series of tree tours throughout the parks in Suffolk. So we already posted chapter 1, so we do have 2, 3, and 4 left, and I'll be posting them on every Saturday.
Great. And I know Parks and Rec throughout the year will offer a variety of programs, a lot of things in nature, utilizing the great parks that we have in the city of Suffolk, and again, the great informational resources that y'all have as far as staffing to kind of present these things. And I think it's great that you're able to tap into that and give people that taste of outside, inside, so to speak, and it works out quite well. And y'all are going to continue that throughout the month of April, too. You got some other things you're going to mix in there with the Arbor theme, correct?
Right. So another thing that we're going to try to tap into some is getting into arts and crafts as well. So unfortunately, our extravaganza, one of our big events, was canceled. So we're going to try to get some arts and crafts together and something that's still very interactive for the kids and the families to participate in. So we're going to do a lot of that via social media. So Facebook at Suffolk Parks and Rec, same for Instagram as Suffolk Parks and Rec as well. So we'll be doing live updates, and if you have ideas as well, we're always open to more ideas. So please feel free to, you know, personal message us or call in, and we will be happy to take those into consideration.
Perfect. And, you know, we did the segment earlier with the Suffolk Public Library, and the same thing applies with Parks and Rec. Staff are still here. They're still working. They're still trying to come up with ideas and ways to provide services to citizens in a unique way, again, given the times that we find ourselves in right now. But also they're there to answer questions, as Amber said. So again, tap into them, find out what's going on, make some suggestions if you'd like, and staff will see if that's something we can execute based on resources and certainly, again, adhering to any guidelines that were given from either local, state, or federal governments with regard to social distancing and accessibility of things. So again, a great way to do that.
And it is important to remember that nature's not canceled as well. So please utilize those trails, those parks, if you're abiding by social distancing. If you find yourself in a big crowd, just remove yourself and maybe come back the next day when it's not as busy.
And again, we have those great resources you talked about, a variety of parks. And I would offer you, if you haven't visited the Suffolk Parks and Recreation website lately, check them out because, again, they have a great resource, a listing of the parks that are on there. And again, a great way to find out what your Parks and Recreation Department has to offer. And certainly we'll continue to have other content there. As Amber said, visit them on Facebook, Instagram, ways to find out what they're doing. And I think you said every day on Facebook you'll kind of give out a little message to kind of give the schedule for the day, correct?
I will, because obviously everything's constantly changing with this going on, as we all know. So it's easier just to do it that way if I update it every morning on what we're expecting to have that day.
Very good. Well, Amber, thanks for your time today. We appreciate what you and the staff at Suffolk Parks and Rec are doing to kind of keep us fit, keep us mentally engaged and out there kind of experiencing nature with the parks that we provide, as well as opportunity to do some of those virtual programming things that you offer.
Well, we're happy to do it.
Thanks very much. Appreciate your time. That would do it for this edition of On the Scene. I'm your host, Tim Kelly. We'll see you next time.